Over the past couple of weeks, we have been describing a process that we first need to understand the mechanics of davening. Then we want to put our lives through that mechanics of lives to make davening much more meaningful and emotional, and then be able to align ourselves back to the way Hashem sees the world. Many people have asked me, how do I do that? What does that look like? It sounds great, but what does that mean? So today I would like to do that with you. Let's take a piece of davening, let's break it down to its components, or some of its components just for this demonstrative experience, and then take some life, put it through the process, and see what we get. So today I would like to take Shema. We need to now not only understand the structure, but we have to understand what does that mean on a somewhat personal level. I'm going to call that subjective, and then we can put life through that process. So let's go through those steps and let's put some subjectivity to them. So we start off with Shema. Shema is Hashem Echad. Hashem is everything. Hashem is everywhere. There is nothing that is not Hashem. And Baruch Shem, the response to this is that we see Hashem not in his entirety, not in his essence, but his Kavod Malchusay, the Malchus of Hashem. So let's put some subjectivity to that. Shema is, like Chazal say, not only do we accept that Hashem is Echad and everything, but we're willing to be Meiser Nefesh. We're willing to give up our souls. We're willing to give our lives for Hashem because we recognize that ultimately it comes from Hashem and is part of Hashem. And then Baruch Shem is going to be the gratitude that comes from that relationship and that recognition that Hashem is Echad. So then Baruch Shem could be able to say how great it is that we are able to be in the presence of Hashem. Let's go to the next part. V'yahavta. Again, we divide into 4 parts. We're primarily focused on the verse mitzvah v'yahavta Hashem Elokecha. The subjectivity to that is that we're responding to the first pasuk that we just said. Shema Yisrael, Yisrael Hashem Echad. Hashem is awesome. Hashem is great. Hashem is everything. There is nothing that is not Hashem. So now there's a response to that, and that is one of Ava, to be able to love to Hashem. Going to the next one. Divided into 4 parts. Again, we're not going to do the bottom 3, but the first one is being able to listen to Hashem. If we do listen to Hashem, then we will get reward. If we don't listen to Hashem, then there will be punishment. The subjectivity that is accountability. The concept that we aren't here and to do whatever we want and we can get away with whatever we want, or we're not here just because Hashem loves us and we do everything because it's out of Ava. We understand that there's an accountability. If we do right, we'll get a reward. If we don't do right, then there will be a punishment. And then, of course, there's the process of understanding that and imbuing that in our lives, which would be Kshartem, the Tefillin, teaching it, the Bartabam, learning it, and then Uchzavtam, writing it and permeating it throughout the house. The final 3 steps, which would be in the last parasha, tzitzis represents all mitzvahs. Really, its ability to do things. Right? The first part was love. The second part was fear of accountability, awe, and now we're talking about to call to action. We're going to do the mitzvahs. But when doing so, it's supposed to be we're supposed to be able to see Hashem in our lives, in all of our daily mitzvahs, and all our daily actions. And we should not go after the falseness of life. And v'yisem kedoshim is that we need to be kadosh. The subjectivity to that is to be able to do more than what we're doing now, to add on, not just to be happy with what we're doing, but always to find a way to grow and do a little bit more. Okay, that's the structure. I hope that's clear. Now, let's go to Shul and let's put some of life into that process. Okay? In our first scenario here of life that we're going to put through is going to be one of tsar. One of somebody, let's say, that is dealing with a very sick child or a loss of a beloved one, and the feeling is a lot of sadness, and let's follow how he could potentially go through a situation of tsar. Now, of course, a disclaimer, all of this is completely personal. It is not a definition or an interpretation of what davening is always supposed to be. This is the way a person could be potentially experiencing in a strong emotion and davening and trying to process his emotional experience in davening. So we start off, Shema Yisrael. Hashem loves us. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is everything. and I am therefore comforted by knowing that everything that I am experiencing, Hashem is with me, and Hashem is guiding me, and Hashem is making it happen for my benefit. We respond, Baruch Shem, and therefore we're able to see that even though there have been many difficult things that we're experiencing, Hashem continues to help us and do miraculous things for us, which we can be able to see despite the difficulties. The response to that is v'ahavta. Since I am able to feel that closeness to Hashem, or that I'm able to feel comforted by Hashem supporting me, therefore I am able to feel a love back to Hashem because I feel embraced. And then, of course, we need to go through the 3-step process of learning more about it, accepting it, teaching it to my children, tying ourselves, binding ourselves, Hashem, even more because of that emotion, and willing to permeate that throughout our lives. The next parasha then, Shema, such a person would say and recognize that everything I'm experiencing has accountability, that Hashem will not let my pain go in vain, and that whatever I am going through, I will either be rewarded, recognized, beloved, connected because of my pain. And if I give up and if I do the wrong thing, so then that too will be a betrayal to the Hashem that has done everything for me. And once we have that feeling of accountability, then we have to go through that 3-step process of binding ourselves to Hashem, teaching it to our children, finding ways to grow in it, and to have it permeate our houses with like mezuzahs. Then we go into making mitzvahs. Once we have those emotions, we feel that comfort, and we feel that there's an accountability that what we do does matter, and Hashem cares about us, then of course there's a mitzvah to do things. I have to find ways to close with Hashem, to do the Ratzon Hashem, which is going to be doing the mitzvahs, for example, of tzitzis. And I've come to recognize that life is not about the hevel havolim of the world, but I've recognized it's all about the relationship, all of the other things that people look for and strive for, whether it be money, whether it be wealth, those are all frivolous and not important. And I'm able to be able to see Hashem in life, and that is what's most important. And therefore, we go to the final step, and that is to be able to find a way to come closer to Hashem, to stop being caught up in the hevel havolim of life, and to push myself to come that much closer. Opposed to the other person that we're talking about, let's introduce another fellow as he comes to shul, and he's experiencing a tremendous amount of simcha. He has married off a daughter or married off a child, and is filled with a tremendous amount of appreciation and awesomeness of what Hashem has done for him. So when he says Shema Yisrael, he says obviously Hashem is running the world. Is an amazing thing. Hashem is everything. Everything that's happened had brought the shich to be from one end to the world. It's all clear that Hashem is everywhere. Baruch Shem, again, is to be able to appreciate all of the details that Hashem did to make it happen. We were able to see Kvoit Malchusoi in the way that experienced. And now I go into the first parasha and I say, and I am so grateful for everything. I owe him everything. There's nothing that I don't feel an overwhelming amount of gratitude and love for everything that Hashem did. And therefore, again, the 3-step process, I would like to learn more about it, teach it to my children, bind myself to Hashem, and permeate it through my lives by writing a mezuzah. However, I can't get lost. I need to be able to follow up with and I need to be accountable that even though I do have this amazing amount of experience and love, I need to remember that the details count, and I need to be able to still do the mitzvahs, and if I do them, they'll be recognized and important, but if I don't do them, then there's still a cheshbon benefesh, and therefore I need to be careful to bind myself to Hashem, limit myself into not getting caught up with the emotions, and allow it to permeate throughout my life with the mitzvah of mezuzah. This person, when he comes to the filing mitzvah of tzitzis, he recognizes that Hashem has done so much for him, and there's so much overwhelming gratitude. He wants to be able to fill his life with doing mitzvahs, call to action to do more, and he knows he needs to be careful not to get caught up again with the extras of life and all of the things that are now available to him, and still and not to see the false parts, or to get caught up into those things, and to see Hashem, continue to see Hashem in all of his life, and to be so grateful, and then push himself for Yisam Kedoshim to do that much more. Here we have two very different experiences that have been able to go through that process. Let's go and compare the two of them and see what we can walk away with that. While I feel a tremendous, overwhelming feeling of love and gratitude to Hashem, I realize that I need to control it and focus it so that I can continue to serve Hashem with Ava and Yira, and not to get caught up in the Havolim that are available elsewhere. So I feel comforted. I feel embraced. I feel that I'm able to go on where I didn't feel so before. So there we go. Unbelievable. One piece of davening, two different sets of emotions, and two different experiences. One person who was feeling sad, he took it, he was able to feel comforted and embraced in the first parasha of Shema, but still motivated and accountable to go on in the second and third parashas. Whereas the person who was feeling excitement and overmounts of appreciation and love, when he goes through that first parasha, that is enhanced. But in the second parasha, he is then held accountable and noticed that he has to continue to serve Hashem and motivated to do so and push himself even more in the third parasha. Now, it's your turn. Take a piece of davening, let life go through it, and see what you come up with.